rain, all that kind of stuff. Like the water, if it rains, it's gonna like create the heaviness, right? If it's windy, we're gonna get some blowing around. So I would just, at this point, because we're moving outside, might as well just use some zip ties to hold the fabric. And then I always like to flip this on the inside. I think most people do that anyway, so. You know, you're gonna find your own like way of figuring out how you best want to do it too, but okay, that's our base. I was telling Ariel before that when it comes to outside pergolas, you really want to probably have at least 2 foam pieces, because we're never like really have designs anymore that are just like round. When you only have like one piece, it kind of makes you design more round. We have these like really big arches that we're dealing with at Brookshire and Estate. Water's Edge at the water side, they're giant triangle arch. So when you got like 2 pieces, you're already tapering, and it already like leads your eye into this like go out, get smaller, you know, taper the greens, taper the flowers, a little fuller in this area, and it's gonna elongate. With the estate arch, we're typically gonna have corner pieces, usually above the bride. She typically stands on the side, but just watch the proposals. My suggestion is definitely to start creating that line by angling your big piece, because let's just say you only got the one piece of foam. You're already gonna have this like skirt go in this direction, start tapering it down. That's why I need more zip ties. Those zip ties. I might need that other piece of foam on the ground. Just a heads up.
Katrina, could you talk a little more on zip tying? Because I think we all do it differently.
Okay.
Some people zip tie through the foam, like
Okay.
what we should and shouldn't do when we're zip tying up on a pergola.
Yeah, I'd say it kind of depends on the arch. With these guys and angling, it's gonna be kind of tricky to put it through these pieces and like get it to angle right. It's a little bit easier to do the zip tie situation when you have these like bigger widths that you're working with. I'd say the copper arches, we're gonna need those little, you know, that little non-slip grip behind it. But at the same time, it might be helpful to like go more through the foam and then like tape it to that so it doesn't like fall as much. I typically still do this unless we're missing this piece. The piece is on the end. These break off really easily, especially when you like yank on it to like really secure it. These little plastic parts aren't that strong, so you can always. I like to go through the 2 corners. Like this. So when we attach it, I guess like if this is missing, if you don't feel like this is gonna hold it, if you're gonna put like a lot of fat, like product into it, this is a little bit more secure because then you get like 2 anchor points, and it's not putting much pressure on just like a little nub. You kind of got like this whole width that's holding it. So I'd say it's hard to like talk about that, I guess, until you like see it. But I'd say these are your probably 2 options. And also we always tape the foam, like the cages, just because you only got these little clamps on the side, and these just kind of pop on and off. So sometimes these are missing, so we just kind of secure it. Once you start putting like product in here, it can start loosening this up, pulling it out. So just make sure it's taped every time that you're working on like an arch. Okay, so with this, I know that going down, we're already going to create that like long effect. It's a little easier than if you were to go across. So my typical points of attachment with foam for the cages is if I only have 2 pieces, I'm gonna let this corner thing happen. I'm gonna put this across the top, and then I just know with my greens, there's a little bit more area to work with. So I know that I have like this whole section that can go down, but this is gonna shoot it up. So it's a little bit easier if you were to have that second piece to go across. So we can start creating shape. We want like other people to add flowers or something.
Yeah. I'd like to see Carl's design today.
What?
Like Carl to really show off his design skills today.
Yeah.
I want to show everybody up.
Let's go, Carl.
I'm a savant.
Yeah, be careful. We might send you on weekends for that.
Let's say make your best judgment call on like whether to go over top of the fabric or to go under. I'm gonna go over because I have all this space and I don't want to lose any of my foam that I would like to put the product into. If I had a mini cage, I'd probably go under. And this guy is like kind of, you know, moving. If you feel the need to go over this guy, the benefit, yeah. Anyways, okay. When it comes to working with these greens, I grabbed some silver dollar because this is like a popular green, but it doesn't cover our mechanics that well. It has a very thin stem, so you need like a whole bunch. If it will come apart.
I have a question.
Yep.
So if you're going to attach in the middle with that small cage,
Yep.
would you attach it with wire and more zip tie?
I like zip ties because it makes them more secure.
Okay.
The binding wire.
So just clip it really short so they can't see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're gonna cover that zip tie too with our greens.
Okay.
The thing is, at some point you can just
Yeah, break
So
it. Okay.
I usually just will make sure I have zip ties for cages.
Okay. So that's pretty much a rule.
I think it's easy. I don't know if it's a rule. We definitely
I just sometimes when I cut it down, sometimes there's wire and zip ties, and I just don't really know why.
Yeah, sometimes this can be more secure. Just to, I could use this to go up and over that little hook because it's a little bit less noticeable and I don't have to cover as much. It's a little bit more natural. So we had it.
So just best judgment. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll probably just break it with a hand or tie.
I mean, that time didn't work.
Can I chime in? Lou, I think also, like, if you're looking at the copper arches, you see that wire there? The purpose for that is because the cage tilts forward and the wire back.
Katrina, yeah. Look down. Yeah. That's I was wondering.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
Zip tie, because zip tie seems so strong.
Otherwise, the cage and everything just tilts forward. So it's not really a
tube.
anchor. Yep.
And it's like wobbly.
Yep.
Also, use the binding wire. Sticks.
You don't want to use those hydrangeas? They look great.
I want to walk, man.
I'll use them. Okay, and you've let this suggest making this your like last piece of greenery that you're gonna add in because usually people want this for the color. And if we were to go up there right now with this, we're gonna start covering it with the other greens. Thank you. Thank you very much.
He's helping.
Okay. So, does anybody want to start adding greens in? I usually start with my shape when I do greens.
Yep, mama's trying to trying to ask her on a date.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Stop sharing. Okay. Ariel, since
Another
we did-
question. So these are the greens that are like the biggest background.
Yeah, I like to start with some of the greens that are going to cover the mechanics first.
Okay.
Because we have so many hydrangeas that we can work with. Oh, look at that. Perfect.
Are they taking it out of the trash bag?
That's probably good, you guys.
Yeah, I don't like to fill all my cages up with like greens first. I want to leave some space. So this is more just like creating the overall shape of it. Yeah. So I go fabric, cages, shape with greens, and then start plugging in the flowers. And I usually start with one type of flower variety, so I can make sure that goes like across the whole design rather than just like, oh, this one I only have it in one space, and I might look out of place or not so cohesive and stuff.
Is there any way we can have like a printed out step by step?
Yeah.
Like a study.
You will probably like this is yeah. Like when I feel like I got to like this kind of point of this because like probably one time I put the arch flowers up first and then I added the fabric after and I'm like that was way more difficult because then all of a sudden like fabric was covering the flowers, it was breaking the flowers, it was like not laying correctly and stuff. So I was like, okay, I know I'm gonna do fabric. Oh my gosh. And then
He's a helper.
so good.
He's a worker.
Yeah, and then the cages go up because it helps kind of secure the fabric from flying around. And then I start with some of my greens just to make sure that I like get because I will come back and I like stand back to see like where everyone else is going to be seeing it or where the photographer's going to be seeing it. Like, does this look impactful enough? So that's why I was trying to like get my the size, I guess, is my next step. So, and after that, it's just kind of filling it. Ariel, because you and I have done it recently. How you feel with greens? Greens, that. Ariel and I just did the triangle arch out at Water's Edge. Yeah. We did that, what was it, last week? 2 weeks ago.
I think it was last week. I think it was posted.
Yeah, the purple one.
Yeah, I saw the one, the picture of.
To the eye to feel balanced. So as you can see, those first set of greens that are like along the back are at like a really far part in the foam. If you can see, we're inserting it back here. So then when we start adding more flowers and covering it up this way, there's still foam for the other flowers and product to like hold onto or like get the water.
Like what Ariel's doing, you still want to put stuff in the front, like.
Yeah.
Like that.
So we're kind of gonna be like flat and then work your way like forward almost. Because you still want it to be like 3-dimensional and not look like it's just one layer.
Yeah.
We're covering mechanics, we're covering the back. I can just kind of go back and forth. And I like to stick things. I'm sticking things straight out at points because it feels a little long, but it's not going to feel long when it's for the photographer. Okay, now some flowers. Let's go do some flowers. Does anybody else want to do flowers?
So about that level is when you start the flowers.
I would. Just seeing that we have like hydrangeas and roses to work with. Let's just say you only have little mini flowers. You might want to green it a little bit more.
Would it be the same green or would it be you start using a different green flower?
If you have multiple greens, I like to kind of like do like layers almost.
Okay.
So it's like we're working with a huck, and then
That's what you just used?
we just used huck. I didn't really bring anything else, but maybe if we had some like smaller greens like this, that the stem's really this long, that might be my next one that I can kind of fill in and stuff. And then like silver dollar will fill that in too. So I just kind of do like an overall, and another overall, almost like green like.
But that would be after that step.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you have actually like 3 different greens, you would
Yeah.
start with this one and then work to
Yeah,
that one. And
I
then-
usually just like to make
then
sure
the
I get
flower.
across the whole thing with like one variety because that way it feels cohesive and that we just don't have like one end being huck and then the other end only silver dollar.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So working with hydrangeas, it kind of
Yeah.
have because they're thicker.
Yep.
And you stick it in, you're like,
Yep.
and then if you have to take it out because you don't like the placement, it kind
Yep.
of like
Starts. Yeah, the foam.
Yeah.
Have you worked with foam much, Lou?
Not really. I've
So-
cut them and prepared like,
Yeah.
but it's all the grunt work
It
I've
doesn't.
done.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't want to say regenerate. Regenerate is like stuck in my head, but like this hole is there. If you were to like pinch it out, like it's like
permanent.
yeah. So what she was saying is that hydrangeas are gonna create that like really thick hole with like it's basically my finger.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
and then if you take it out, nothing else can really go in there.
Everything would be
you kind of have to
wobbly.
place
Yeah.
it in your head first, kind
Yeah.
of like that's where I
Okay, I get it.
And that's why I'd say like when I do arches, no matter what, or like anything like fireplace or whatever, I'm always coming back and like standing back here and looking at it and kind of visualizing in my head, okay, if I have 3 hydrangeas I can work with, I'm like, where are those 3 gonna go? Because I know it's gonna be like really full and like a focal point, and am I using it to create like a focal point, or is it kind of a base?
So at this point, would you say I'm gonna find where my chunky flowers go, and then
Yeah.
work with your small? Okay, so
Yeah,
this is
I
the
definitely
point.
go.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely start big because that's gonna like. Here's the thing about
Cover it.
hydrangeas. People really like them, but when they're up there, all they look is like a white blob. There's nothing really. I don't know, fun about this
Yeah.
to me. So like, I'm gonna use this as a base. As a base to start covering some of the mechanics, but then you can still step through it.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes what I'll do is I'll add the hydrangeas in at this point, like we'll do. And then from there I could add more greeneries to come through it to make it look a little bit more natural. So then
Is
it's
there any
not,
other kind of flower that you do something like that with? Like a
not
giant
really.
mum or something, or?
I would actually suggest doing mums maybe like in your last few,
Oh, okay.
just because they'll shatter.
Okay.
Yeah, their petals are like, they want to let go up like this.
Okay.
So, and they're also thin. They have that one point that they're attached to that that stem for a mum. And
Oh,
then
okay.
if you like were to hit it, you could shatter and like break off like a whole half of
Gotcha.
the. Yeah. So mums to me, I'd say like if you start thinking about like if it's a fragile flower, if it's a whimsical flower, like this is probably going to be one of the last kind of flowers we plug into this. I would go like in this situation I go hydrangeas, then roses, and then some of your butterflies from there, and then these guys would be last. Yeah. Do we want to see like the outcome of this, or do we feel like okay with the idea that we've put the fabric up first, we've added the cages, we've added some greenery to create our shape, and then you kind of build in from there? Do we want to move on to to like aisle decor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good with.
I think I get it.
Yeah.